At dawn, this man lit his oven the same way he had every morning for 20 years. By the time it was hot enough to bake, he had less than 18 hours to live. He didn't know it. Nobody in the city did. It is an autumn morning in the year 79. Pompeii is already awake. 17,000 people live inside its walls. A wealthy seaside town in the Bay of Naples, full of merchants, magistrates, freed slaves who built fortunes from nothing. Fish sellers laying out the morning catch from the bay. Weavers opening their workshops. Politicians whose names are painted on the walls of the streets, asking for your vote. And in a small bakery near the eastern gate, you light your oven. A donkey, blindfolded, walks in slow circles to grind your grain, the way every loaf in this city has been made for generations. Your hands have done this for 20 years. You shape each loaf into a flat round, mark it into 8 wedges with the edge of your hand. By midday, they will all be gone. The ground has been trembling for days now. A cracked cup, a spilled jug, small wells running cloudy, animals restless in the early hours. But here, the earth always grumbles. 17 years ago, a great earthquake nearly flattened this city. Is loud, and Pompeii arguing in the basilica, stronger than before. A boy reading the latest election graffiti aloud to his grandfather. Tremors are what you ignore, so you can get on with your life. Public baths are full. That was the first mistake. Rising off the water. Old men playing dice. Your shelves are empty. You wipe down the counter and think about closing early. And then, around 1 in the afternoon, someone in the street stops walking, tilts his head back, shades his eyes with one hand. Vesuvius has stood over Pompeii for as long as anyone can remember. Green slopes, vineyards on its lower flanks. No one alive thinks of it as anything but a hill. But now, a column is rising from its peak, straight up, impossibly fast. And at the top, it spreads outward, wide and flat, branching against the sky. A Roman writer named Pliny, watching from across the bay, will later describe it as looking like a great pine tree. People in the Forum stop where they stand. They point. Some are afraid. Most are simply curious. Nobody in living memory has seen anything like this. There is no word for it yet. It looks like a distant wonder, not a death sentence. The market continues. The children keep playing. Above the rooftops, the column climbs higher than the mountain itself. Whatever this is, higher than any is happening to the mountain, not to you. Then the sky begins to fall. Not rain, stone. Small porous pebbles of pumice, light as cork, the size of a thumbnail, clatter off the rooftops like hail. At first it is almost harmless. Children run into the streets, holding out their hands to catch the strange gray stones. But it does not stop. It thickens. Within an hour the streets have a layer underfoot. Within 2, the layer is at your ankles. By late afternoon the streets are knee-deep. Carts can no longer move. Doorways begin to fill from outside. Now every family in Pompeii faces the same question, and the answer will decide whether they live, run, or wait it out. Thousands choose to run. They gather what they can carry, gold sewn into clothing, a child on each arm, and push through the rising stone toward the city gates and the road to the sea. They will mostly live. The lucky ones reach boats. The rest walk into the night and keep walking until the eruption is behind them. You are not one of them. The bakery is everything you own. 20 years of work in these walls, in this oven. You tell yourself it will pass by morning. It has to. You close the heavy wooden shutters. You bar the door. You light a small oil lamp, and you sit down in the half-dark to wait. Above you, the pumice keeps falling. You can hear it now. A steady, insistent sound. And your roof begins to groan like 1,000 small hands knocking on the roof. Darkness comes early, and it is total. Not the darkness of night, the darkness of a sealed room, the darkness of a tomb. Across the bay, at the naval base of Misenum, a 17-year-old boy named Pliny is watching with his mother. He will survive. He will write 2 letters about this night, decades later, to a friend named Tacitus. They are the only eyewitness account of what is happening to your city. He will write that it was as if every lamp in the world had been put out at once, that women shrieked, that children cried for their parents, that some people prayed for death, believing the gods were ending the world. By now, the pumice has been falling for nearly 12 hours. In places, it is almost 3 meters deep, taller than a man. Roofs are collapsing across the city. Wooden beams give way. Tile and stone come down together. And the people who sheltered beneath them do not get up. You sit in the dark of your bakery, the lamp burning low, listening to your city break apart. You think about leaving. You think about the bakery. You do not move. Somewhere out there, the last families are still feeling their way toward the gates by touch, hands along walls they have known their whole lives, suddenly strange in the dark. Those who leave tonight will see another dawn. Those who wait for morning will not. And then, the mountain changes its mind. The great column that has poured upward for 12 straight hours can no longer hold its own weight. It collapses. What comes down is not stone. It is a wall of superheated gas and ash, a pyroclastic surge, pouring down the mountain at the speed of a train, hot enough to kill in a single breath. Faster than any person can run, hotter than any fire you have ever seen. The first surge reaches the town of Herculaneum, 4 miles to the west, and ends it in moments. Every person who stayed, every animal, gone. Then the mountain breathes again and again. Each surge reaches a little farther across the dark, buried landscape, toward Pompeii, toward your street, toward your door. The final surge reaches the walls of Pompeii in the dark hours before dawn. For everyone still inside the city, the end is not slow. It is one breath, and then nothing. 17 centuries pass. The town disappears from maps. The eruption itself becomes a story people half believe. And then, in the 1700s, the digging begins. Archaeologists find them exactly where they fell. A sleeping family, a chained dog, a mother shielding a child. Not bones, but hollow spaces in the hardened ash, perfect down to the folds of their clothes. Pour plaster into the cavity. 81 loaves of person bread returns, baked that final morning. And in your bakery, burned black, near the eastern
whole
gate, they find that no one ever came back
sealed
to collect. Shut by the eruption. For
Pompeii was lost for almost
1,700 years. When it was found again, it was not ruins. It was a moment. A whole city caught in the middle of an ordinary day. Most of its people survived, because they ran when the sky first turned strange. The ones who did not shared one quiet, fatal thought. Surely it will pass. Next time, we'll spend a day with someone who lived 1,000 years later, in a world just as strange to us. Subscribe, and the door stays open.